Imagine living the same day, over and over, with the same habits, the same mistakes, and the same regrets. That's Gohan's life. It might be yours too. Deep down, he knows something's off, he feels stuck, trapped in patterns that keep pulling him back. But what if the only way forward was to end this version of himself? To let it die, so a stronger one can rise? This is the Phoenix method. Gohan wakes up every morning, but it doesn't feel like a new day. It feels like a rerun of yesterday. The same thoughts, the same routines, the same disappointments. He's stuck in a loop. At first, he doesn't question it. After all, habits feel safe. The old self whispers, "This is who you are. This is what you know. Stay here." But deep down, Gohan feels the quiet weight of something missing. Every attempt to break free only drags him back. He starts new projects, sets new goals, but they fade. He promises to change, but the promise always breaks. It's like quicksand, the harder he struggles, the deeper he sinks. Maybe you know this feeling too. Waking up and realizing that life isn't moving forward. You're busy, but not fulfilled. Comfortable, but not alive. The old self doesn't let go easily, it has built walls of routine, and inside those walls, growth withers. Here's the truth most people don't see: the old self isn't always a villain. It had a purpose. It carried you through hard times, protected you when you didn't know better. But the same habits that once helped you survive are now chains keeping you from growing. For Gohan, it shows up in small ways. The same excuses. The same doubts. The same fears disguised as logic: it's too late to change. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this is just how life is. But here's the problem. That voice, the voice of the old self, doesn't care about growth. It only cares about comfort. And comfort can quietly kill your future. This is why transformation feels so hard. You're not fighting the world, you're fighting yourself. The version of you that wants to stay the same. The one that says, "Don't risk it. Don't change. Don't step forward." And just like Gohan, many of us mistake this cycle for life. We think being stuck is normal. But the longer you live in this loop, the more you start to forget that change is possible. You forget that you are more than who you are today. The truth is simple but uncomfortable: the person you are right now cannot take you to the next level of your life. You cannot evolve while clinging to the old self. You cannot be reborn if you refuse to let something die. And for Gohan, this realization is about to hit harder than ever. Because the first step of the Phoenix method isn't about learning something new, it's about confronting the old self that has been holding him prisoner. And once he sees it clearly, he will have to make the choice no one wants to make: to let it burn. Realization is one thing. But letting go, that's the battle. For Gohan, it feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. On one side, the life he knows, safe, familiar, predictable. On the other, a leap into the unknown. His mind screams, "Don't jump. Don't risk it. You'll lose everything." And that's the trap. The old self convinces you that change equals death. In a way, it's right. To grow, you must allow a death to happen, the death of the version of yourself that can no longer carry you forward. But this death isn't destruction. It's transformation. It's the fire that clears the ground for something new to rise. For Gohan, burning the old self means confronting uncomfortable truths. It means admitting that the excuses he's used for years are just fear wearing a mask. It means seeing that the habits he clings to for comfort are the same habits that chain him down. This stage is brutal. It feels like loss. You're asked to give up the parts of yourself that feel like you. The daily patterns. The limiting beliefs. Even the identity you've built over time. Think about it. You are not just letting go of bad habits, you're unlearning who you think you are. That's why it hurts so much. That's why most people never get past this point. Musashi, the legendary swordsman, understood this. He taught the art of detachment, not only from possessions, but from identity. To detach is to stop clinging to the illusion of permanence. For Gohan, it means detaching from the story that says, "This is all I'll ever be." And here's where the fire comes in. Burning down the old self isn't gentle. It's not tidy. It feels like chaos. For Gohan, it's nights of doubt, mornings of fear, and days when he questions if he's making a mistake. But the fire is necessary. Because the version of you that clings to comfort can never walk into growth. The fire strips away what no longer serves. It destroys the prison walls you've mistaken for home. This is the Phoenix method in its rawest form. To rise, you must first burn. The pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. As Gohan lets the fire consume the parts of him that no longer belong, he's left with nothing familiar. His old skin is gone. His old patterns are ashes. And now, standing in that emptiness, the question is no longer, who have I been, but, who will I become? But here's the paradox, before rebirth, there is stillness. And it's in this stillness, this space of nothingness, that the real transformation begins. The fire has done its work. The old self is gone. What's left is not clarity, not certainty, but ashes. For Gohan, this is the most unsettling stage of all. The routines that once defined him are burned away. The beliefs that once shaped him are in pieces. Even his identity feels hollow. He doesn't know who he is anymore. And that's exactly the point. The ashes are not a place of weakness, they are a place of stillness. A place where the noise of the old self has finally gone silent. At first, Gohan feels lost, like he's standing in a wasteland with nothing to guide him. But slowly, he begins to notice something. The ashes aren't empty, they're fertile. This is where rebirth begins. Not in the fire, but in what comes after. Most people fear this stage. They rush to rebuild, to fill the silence, to patch the holes left behind. But transformation doesn't come from rushing, it comes from waiting. From sitting in the discomfort of emptiness long enough to discover who you really are without the masks, the habits, and the stories. Carl Jung called this the meeting with the shadow, the parts of ourselves we've hidden, denied, or avoided. When the old self is gone, the shadow rises. For Gohan, it's the fears he never faced, the doubts he buried, the insecurities he pretended weren't there. At first, it feels unbearable. But then he realizes, the shadow isn't the enemy. It's the missing piece. By acknowledging it, by embracing it, he gains strength. What he once avoided now becomes fuel. In the ashes, Gohan learns something powerful. Transformation isn't about creating a brand new self out of nothing. It's about rebuilding with what remains, the parts that are true, the parts that are real, the parts that align with his higher self. The ashes strip away everything false, leaving only the raw material for growth. They whisper, you don't have to be who you were. You don't have to stay trapped in yesterday. You are free to choose. And so, in the stillness of the ashes, Gohan stops fearing the unknown. He begins to see that emptiness isn't a curse, it's a canvas. But here's the danger. Many people reach this stage, sit in the ashes, and never move forward. They confuse stillness with finality. They mistake emptiness for the end, when in truth, it's only the beginning. For Gohan, the question now is clear: how do you rebuild from the ashes without falling back into the same patterns? How do you ensure the new self is not just a copy of the old one? The answer lies in intention. And that's where the next phase of the Phoenix method begins. The ashes are quiet. The old self is gone. And now, Gohan stands in front of a blank canvas. This is where most people stumble. They think transformation is about rushing to rebuild, about quickly filling the emptiness with something, anything, that feels familiar. But that's how cycles repeat. That's how the new self becomes nothing more than a slightly different version of the old one. Gohan refuses to make that mistake. This time, he chooses carefully. Each decision, each habit, each thought is placed with purpose, like bricks in the foundation of a new life. He no longer asks, "What do I already know how to do?" Instead, he asks, "What kind of person do I want to become, and what will it take to get there?" This is the power of intention. Rebirth is not just about destruction, it's about design. For Gohan, it begins small. He doesn't try to reinvent everything overnight. Instead, he studies the ashes and asks, what was worth keeping? What deserves to be left behind? The truth is, not everything from the old self was broken. Some habits, some lessons, some values carried real strength. Rebuilding with intention means taking those pieces forward while refusing to carry the chains of the past. It's like a sculptor facing a block of stone. The form is already hidden inside, it just takes careful chiseling to reveal it. Intention is the chisel. So Gohan starts with small, deliberate changes. Waking earlier, but not just to pass time, to reflect on where he's going. Cutting out distractions, not to be busier, but to focus on what truly matters. Choosing thoughts that empower rather than limit. Every action is a vote for the person he's becoming. Every small choice compounds, layer by layer, into transformation that lasts. And here's the secret most people miss: rebuilding with intention isn't about becoming someone completely new. It's about refining who you already are, stripping away what no longer belongs, and reinforcing what aligns with your highest self. Without intention, the cycle resets. You burn, you fall apart, and then you rebuild the same cage all over again. But with intention, you don't just change, you evolve. Gohan now understands something vital: the fire gave him ashes, but intention gives him shape. His life is no longer about drifting into whatever patterns appear, it's about consciously choosing the blueprint of his future. But here's the truth about the Phoenix method. Rebuilding is not the end. Because even this new version of Gohan, the one forged with care and vision, will not last forever. Just as the phoenix burns and rises again, the cycle will return. Growth demands it. And the real test of transformation isn't whether you can rebuild once, it's whether you can rise again and again, each time stronger than before. Most people think transformation is a single event. You struggle, you break, you rise, done. But life isn't built on straight lines. It's built on cycles. The phoenix doesn't burn once. It burns again and again. Each time, the fire strips away what no longer serves, and each time the rebirth brings a stronger, wiser form. Gohan finally sees this. His journey wasn't about a single battle or a single collapse. It was about understanding that the very nature of life is to fall apart and rebuild, endlessly. And maybe you felt this too. That moment when you thought you had it figured out, only to watch everything shift beneath your feet. That moment when comfort turned into stagnation, when the old tools stopped working, when the person you thought you were could no longer carry the weight of who you were meant to become. At first, this feels cruel. As if the universe is punishing you by forcing you to start over. But what if it's the opposite? What if collapse is not punishment, but permission? Permission to shed the outdated skin. Permission to rewrite the story. Permission to grow into a new shape of yourself that could never have existed otherwise. This is the cycle of rebirth. The fire, the ashes, the intention, and then the rise. Again and again. Think about nature. Trees don't keep their leaves forever, they let them fall so new ones can grow. Snakes shed their skins when they've outgrown them. Stars collapse, only to form new worlds in their death. Even the universe itself expands, contracts, and renews. Why would we be any different? The cycle doesn't mean weakness. It means alignment with the rhythm of existence itself. To resist it is to suffer. To embrace it is to evolve. For Gohan, the lesson is now clear: power isn't about avoiding the burn. Power is about walking willingly into the fire, trusting that what emerges on the other side will always be closer to the truth. And here's the gift hidden in the cycle: every death of the old self carries within it the seed of a higher self. You're never simply breaking, you're becoming. You're never simply ending, you're unfolding. The question is not, will I burn again? The question is, when I do, will I rise stronger? That's the choice only you can make. So if you're standing in your own fire right now, if life feels like it's collapsing, if the ashes seem endless, remember the phoenix. Remember Gohan. Remember that you are not ending. You are transforming. The cycle of rebirth isn't something to fear. It's the blueprint of growth. It's the proof that you are alive, and becoming more alive with every rise. So let the fire come. Let it take what it must. And when the smoke clears, stand tall in the ashes. Because your story isn't finished. It's only beginning, again. The phoenix rises. Gohan rises. And so will you. Because the fire was never your enemy, it was your teacher. Every cycle you endure, every ash you stand upon, every rebirth you claim, it all proves one thing: you are far more powerful than you were ever told. This is the truth the universe hides in plain sight. Not in myths, not in gods, not in stars far away, but inside you. Waiting for the moment you remember. So if this journey spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded of their own fire. Let them see what you now know: that collapse is never the end, it is the doorway to becoming. And before you go, leave a comment. Tell me, where are you in your cycle right now? Are you burning, standing in the ashes, or rising again? Like this if it resonated. Subscribe if you're ready to keep unlocking what the universe has hidden within you. Because this is only the beginning. The story continues.